data plays like a really important part in that process.
Plaid's head of sales, Paul Williamson, shares his winning formula for sales excellence and forecast accuracy. Welcome to The Forecast, everyone. I'm Molly St. Louis, and yes, today we're forecasting the future of forecasting. The sales forecast determines the operating rhythm of the entire business, but unfortunately, too many teams rely on their gut to call their number. In fact, a recent Gartner report found that 55% of sales leaders don't have a high degree of confidence in their sales forecast accuracy, and 57% of quota-carrying individuals have the same negative sentiment. Revenue confidence is a must for high-growth teams, and luckily, we have Paul Williamson with us today to share his method for nailing his forecasts that led to the $5.3 billion acquisition by Visa. Paul, thanks for hanging out with us today on The Forecast.
Thanks, Molly. I'm really glad to be here and looking forward to chatting with you.
Why is forecast accuracy so important to you?
It's the question that I get asked most about and from my executive leadership team and from the board. Is always about, what does this quarter look like? What does next quarter look like? What does even like the kind of 2 quarters out from today look like for the business? And so forecast accuracy is really critical for us.
How important is that predictability to the business, leadership, team, board meeting?
It's super important because in a lot of cases, our accuracy around forecasting means a level of predictability around the business as well. And having good predictability, particularly as a startup, is really important because it can actually kind of help you forward plan into the future further and further. So if you're trending towards a good performance result, that might mean that you can think about adding new headcount. It might think about like adding new channels for the way that you sell. And so the more consistent that you are and the more repeatable that you are on that, then you build great trust with your executive team, you build great trust with your board. And that then gives you way more latitude to think about experimenting more, changing more, growing more, and doing those things. So that stuff it's critically important.
Very interesting point there. And we actually have some really cool data about this. So let's take a second and kick it over to Clari's VP of Sales, Holly Proctor, to give us some deep insights. Hey, Holly.
Thanks, Molly. Let's talk about the impact of COVID on revenue forecasts for just a second. We all know the forecast is the most important number to the business. It determines how the business invests and grows, and whether you come in over or under your number, there are dire consequences for missing a forecast. In normal times, calculating sales stage conversions and pipeline coverage might be more straightforward. But as COVID hit, Clari data showed that average total forecasted revenue declined by 9% in Q1 compared to Q4. And even after lowering their total projections, on average, teams were not accurate, landing 24% below their March 1 forecast. COVID may be a once-in-a-lifetime black swan event, but forecast accuracy is still crucial. And the best revenue leaders are finding creative ways and tools to call their number with confidence. Back to you, Paul and Molly.
Really, really interesting stuff. Okay, so Paul, back to the issue at hand. How did you drive predictability in the business across the sales team?
Yeah, so that's not easy. And it takes a ton of work to get to that level of predictability. I think like one of the keys that we've always focused on at Plaid was number one, kind of just getting someone on the same page, like having people consistently do things. So like if, I had an AE on my team who had a pipeline of deals, but and I shared that same pipeline with a second or a third AE. Now, a couple of years ago when we were forecasting, I would have gotten completely different forecast results from every single one of those 3 people, even though it was the same information, the same inputs. And so the key was making sure that we actually all believed and we bought into like what our principles around forecasting were. And so that like started with us really putting some detail around, what are our stages from an opportunity perspective, and how do we agree on, what it means to be in that stage. And more importantly, like what are the activities that I need to do to exit that stage to kind of get to that next stage of the pipeline. And if you don't have, first of all, like a really good definition of what it means for an opportunity to be in a certain stage, then pipeline predictability gets difficult.
Paul, what is your forecast for the future of forecasting?
At the end of the day, there's going to be a big focus for people to be more accurate and more predictable in what it is that they do. I think data plays like a really important part in that process for us to like understand our business at a level and a detail that we're looking for. It actually puts even more responsibility on us as a leader to be even more focused and even more granular in terms of understanding our business.
That's right, friends. You don't need a crystal ball to forecast with accuracy, but you do need a formula. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay healthy, stay focused, and stay connected.